I mentioned this at the start of the show, and it's a big story that's trending everywhere, right? The blackface story. This time, Justin Trudeau is a part of it. This is something that happened in 2001, where Justin Trudeau, if you don't know who he is, he's the Canadian Prime Minister, posted a photo wearing a brown face when he was a school teacher back in 2001. He apologized. He admitted that he had also put on makeup when he was in high school as part of a talent show in which he sang Deo. And now there is a second photo that has come out by Time, and it was taken, a little bit earlier. And he was on a plane yesterday, and he said, I shouldn't have done it. Should have known better, but I didn't. He told reporters on the plane, I am really sorry. Listen, in today's day and age, people should know better. I don't want to defend him, but at the same time, what was maybe more acceptable 15, 20, 30 years ago is not acceptable now. I do not like Megyn Kelly, but Megyn Kelly made a point on her show saying, wasn't blackface acceptable, Halloween 20 or 30 years ago? She got fired for making those comments. Okay? We have these Democrats in Virginia, and I don't appreciate it when they lie. And I believe at least one of them lied when it came to the blackface stuff in the yearbook situation. Trudeau met it yesterday, admitted to it, owned up to it, apologized. And I'm sorry, folks, just because you wore blackface 20 or 30 years ago does not mean you're a racist. I would say the same thing if a photo came out about Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump has done some things that could be construed as racist, but I would not call Donald Trump a racist if a blackface photo came out of him from 20 or 30 years ago. I just simply wouldn't. Now, today's day and age is very different. If somebody does that today, at the very least, you have atrocious judgment, terrible judgment. But I was speaking...
And you're clearly trying to make a statement in today's day and age, obviously, because of how big the outcry has been the last year and a half.
Well,
the same attention wasn't applied to blackface in 2001, Brian.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. It was a different time back then. And I was talking to our producer, Johnny, before the show, and he told me a story about a couple that he knows, and this was many years ago, African-American and a white person, interracial couple, and they flip-flopped on Halloween, right? One of them wore a white face and one of them wore a black face, and nobody had any issues with it, right? Nobody had issues with it. Now, I don't think that would happen today. But back then, I guess you could say it was more socially accepted. I'm sorry, but I don't think you're a racist because you wore blackface many, many years ago. Well, was it maybe not the most intelligent choice? Sure. I don't think it means you're a racist. I think, listen, it's not like you were lighting up a cross and hanging a black mannequin, okay? It's not like you were a member of the KKK. It's not like your Vice President Mike Pence. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. It's not like, your wife works at a school.
I think that was warranted, too.
It's not like
Mike
your
Pence,
wife works at a school where they don't allow homosexuals to go to school there or work there. That, to me, that's far worse.
And I'm not sure if it was socially accepted in 2001. It just wasn't as frowned upon. And it wasn't made as big of a deal as it is now. And Justin Trudeau was 28 years old in 2001. He's 47 now.
I'm going to tell you right now, I think if you work at a school and support no homosexuals, kids going to school there, and no employees working there, to me, today, that is far more serious, and it shows the hate inside of you than somebody 20, 25 years ago that wore blackface. It is far worse to work in a school system like that, and it is far worse, in my opinion, to have that way of thinking today. And I know we're intertwining two things, homosexuality and the color of one's skin. But I'm going to tell you right now, Republicans that are going after Trudeau for this situation and any other Republican that has gone after any Democrat for wearing a blackface many, many years ago, you are 150% a hypocrite. It's exactly who you are. Because we have a vice president that at one time in his life tried to push forth, or at least supported legislation that could have come forward that didn't when it came to conversion therapy. And if you look at Mike Pence's record, don't you talk to me about Trudeau and blackface and something that happened over 20 years ago. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, is Joe Biden too old to run for president? Jimmy Carter seems to think so. We'll talk about that when we come back. You're listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN, in the studio. And I'm watching Justin Trudeau right now speaking live, the Canadian Prime Minister, speaking out and apologizing again about this blackface stuff.
Well, here's one crazy thing about this Justin Trudeau thing is this took place in Canada. Is blackface a big deal in Canada?
I don't know. All I know is I think this is utterly ridiculous. I think if you've done something 20 or 30 years ago like this, when I think blackface was, I'm not going to say socially accepted, but certainly we're at a different point where we are right now than we were 20 or 30 years ago. What do you want from this guy? What do you want him to say?
All he can really do is apologize.
Does that mean he's a racist because he wore blackface? I asked this question to you guys out there. And if you're an African American, I'd love to hear what you think about this, because I've seen African Americans dress up as whiteface. Do you think that if a politician 20 years ago, let's just say at least 20 years ago, at one point in his life dressed as blackface, do you think that means he's a racist? Do you think that means he should be out of office? We'll take your phone calls now. What do you think about that? 257-5396 is the number to call, 702-257-5396. Do you think that as a white person, if you dress as blackface, whether it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, do you think that person should be kicked out of office? Do you think that person should never be allowed back into public office? Do you think that person is a racist? I say no. And I would defend Donald Trump if he did this 20 or 30 years ago. I would say, no, Donald Trump is not a racist because of that. I could come up with some other examples probably of why I think he's a racist. Anyway, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation on the GCI Guys hotline, which is 257-5396. Again, that number to call, 702-257-5396. You know, I'm watching Trudeau right now, live on CNN and Fox News, apologizing again. How many times does this guy have to apologize for something that happened 25 years ago? 20 years ago. It's insane.
It would be one thing if he was dressed up in KKK garb.
Yeah.
Like Ralph Northam.
Of course. It's one thing if you dress up in blackface 20 years ago. It's another thing if you were part of the KKK and you had a black mannequin being hung by a rope. Okay? There's levels here. 257-5396 is the number to call. Again, that number, 257-5396, the GCI Guys hotline. Let's go to Stanley. Stanley, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
What's up, Stanley?
Hey, Stan. Hey, yeah, how you guys doing?
Good, man.
So, good. So, I like Justin Trudeau, and the guy is like, you know, he's being apologetic. You know, he can apologize. But the thing is, it's so crazy. It's like he wasn't doing it in a disparaging way,
right?
Like, you know, like you see some of the, you know, the guys back in the South.
That's a very important distinction, Stanley, you just made. He was impersonating a singer, correct?
I think he was impersonating he was two situations. He
right.
Was doing Harry Belafonte's.
Right. Correct. Yeah.
And then he was doing an Aladdin thing.
Right. So that's an important distinction.
Yeah. So the thing is, what's curious is, I wonder. I mean, it takes a lot of time to put that black paint on you. I don't understand why would I mean, that's a lot of work, man. I mean, I can see getting makeup. You know?
I guess so. I mean, I suppose. But let me ask you a question, Stanley. Because you're an African American?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it fair to say that just because you did wear blackface, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a racist, right?
I don't think so either, because I think it was a time, and look, it was a time when that was like novel. It was like, you know,
right.
You know, like the guy from back in the day that started it all thing. Jolson.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, what's happening now is, because everything's coming to light with this orange head fool that's such a racist. He's making it. This guy's making the atmosphere where everybody's very sensitive.
Right.
This orange head president. That, you know, he's not mine. I don't consider him my president.
I'm with you on that one.
He's causing all of this
division
issues.
Yeah, division.
He's just. It really. I mean, the guy, the governors, in Virginia, what they were doing.
Stanley,
back
do you
in
think
the
that
day
Barack
from the
Obama was
South.
good for racial relations in America?
Of course he was, because everybody we needed to see that America is a nation of diversity, and yes, African Americans can also be leaders. So it was a.
Well, there's no question that, listen, Stanley, and by the way, I appreciate the call and your perspective, Stanley. There's no doubt that African Americans could be leaders. But I think the point that JD was bringing up, and I tend to agree with him, I think we agree on this, I don't think Barack Obama did a great job with racial relations. And, the Zimmerman thing, when that came out, Michael Brown, by the way, who for whatever reason Democrats still want to look at as a hero, make no mistake about it, in the Ferguson situation.
He was very biased, and, and he sided with one specific race.
Right. Michael Brown, make no mistake about it, is no hero. He's no martyr. Okay, Michael Brown was a thug who committed a strong arm robbery, and then evidence showed that he attacked a police officer, assaulted a police officer, went after the officer's gun. If you are dumb enough to go after an officer's gun and assault the police officer, you deserve to be 6 feet underneath the ground. The evidence showed that, and Barack Obama, for whatever reason, sent out people in his administration to Michael Brown's funeral. Michael Brown is no hero. He belongs 6 feet underneath the ground. Period. And I'm so tired of Democrats bringing up Michael Brown. Listen, if you want to talk about this,
I don't know if he belongs underneath the ground.
If you are dumb enough to attack a police officer, you shouldn't be alive.
He definitely assumed the risk, and the guy was 6'4", 315 pounds. He was a very large man.
He assaulted a police officer.
Absolutely did.
I don't want those people in society. I feel bad for his family and friends. I don't feel bad for him. Make no mistake.
But the way that the media portrayed that,
hands up, don't shoot, false narrative,
was an absolute
in that
joke.
case. But when you look at Eric Garner,
yeah, exactly.
You look at other
Garner
cases, it's
situation
different.
was a little different.
Other cases are different.
Granted, Eric Garner had been arrested 37 times for the same crime.
Correct.
And he never learned his lesson.
Why do I bring up Michael Brown? Because we brought up Barack Obama and race relations, and I thought Obama handled that very badly.
Or saying Trayvon Martin could have been my son.
Exactly.
Another example.
Did not like that either.
That did nothing to help racial relations in America.
Wait until the evidence comes out, Mr. President, before you talk about these specific cases. 257-5396. Let's go to Al. Al, what's going on?
What's up, Al?
How we doing, gentlemen?
Good, man.
Doing
What's on
great.
your mind?
Good to be with you. So
Thank you.
I want to, and I don't really know the answer to this, so I just like your perspective. Is there a difference between blackface and then dressing up in a costume as a genie and putting on makeup?
That's a good question. Well, that's a good question.
So, I mean, one, I think 1,000%, I think we could all agree, has serious racial overtones, right?
Right.
Or at least some type of racial overtone.
Yeah.
Right. And then listen, I'm not Canadian, and I'm not going to defend Justin Trudeau one way or the other. I don't really have a strong opinion on that. But it seems like he was in a more of a Halloween or a costume party.
Correct.
Type
There's a distinction.
Situation.
Yeah.
To me, that it seems like there's now if he were wearing a white robe and a hat and was or something that clearly said, "Hey, I'm a racist." I could understand some.
We should make a very good.
There's definitely context behind everything.
We should make a big distinction. It's one thing to dress up as Harry Belafonte. It's another thing to to be a member of the KKK. I think we can make that distinction there. And Trudeau, I don't think he needs to apologize anymore for this. I think what's done is done 20, 25 years ago. He's not going to do it again. He seems like a decent man, Canadian or not. And I'm so tired. We are just so sensitive to some of this stuff, and I understand why some people are. If you do it in today's society, you're going to get hammered for it, and rightfully so. But 20 years ago was completely different.
Well, what if somebody dressed up in Asian face? What if somebody dressed up?
Well, you can't do that now.
I'm just making an example. What if someone did a different race under the same circumstances? How would the reaction be? I can tell you,
it'd be pretty bad.
It would not be pretty bad. This is the worst.
Asian face?
This is the worst reaction. Possible.
Yeah. Al, I appreciate the call, my man. Thank you very
Al.
much. Let's take one more call. And how about from a friend of the show? Pat Cassell has decided to call in. Did a show here at KTWN. He joins us every week on the show. Pat, what do you think about this?
What's up, Pat?
Did we lose Pat Cassell? Uh-oh. Johnny, do we have Pat on the line? Did we lose Pat? I think we might have lost Pat. Sorry about that, Pat. Well, Pat's going to be joining us in studio next week anyway, so we'll be able to talk about this. But we're almost at the near end of the show, and if we just the breaking news is that Trudeau is apologizing now on live on a press conference. It's all over the networks. And I'm saying to myself, it's enough already, man. It's enough already. Johnny, how much time do we have left here? We got to – all right. Pat, I've only got about 45 seconds, my friend. We got you back on. What's up?
Two things. Number one, if you've ever been to Canada, they're so diverse. If you dress up as somebody, you're impersonating somebody, that's not in bad taste. If I want to go as Buddha because I got a big belly, I'm not making fun of anybody Asian. I'm just going as Buddha. But I will tell you, back in the day when people wore blackface and they had their lips colored, they were making fun of the black race. There's a significant difference, in my opinion, than just saying, oh, I'm a racist. And
I agree.
Trudeau, far from being a racist.
I agree, Pat. And by the way, thanks for the call, buddy. We'll catch you in studio on Tuesday. I think that every case is different. This is a case-by-case basis. I don't think Trudeau is a racist at all.
And, Pat, I think that Tennessee beats Florida outright this weekend. Sprinkle the money line.
Oh, okay. Putting a little – we go from blackface to football handicapping. See, that's why I love this show. All right, so quickly, tomorrow on the show, folks, I promise you this is going to be fun. We got a guy by the name of Dick Shappy. He is changing his Rhode Island strip club into a sports betting business. He's going to be joining us live to talk a little bit about that. Joe Becker does a great job for the Oakland Tribune covering the Raiders. We're going to preview the Raiders and Week 3. And trust me, we will continue to cover Blackface Gate and Trudeau. We'll talk about this and much, much more. And of course, we will take your calls tomorrow as well. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Mr. Sean Hannity is coming up next, folks. Thanks for listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
So there's this guy named Jordan, and he's a healthy guy. He's a dad of 6, and he works as a guide in Alaska. But then he goes to the doctor, and he's diagnosed with cancer, stage 4. And here's the thing. He had switched from medical insurance to MediShare, which is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry. So the question for Jordan and his wife, Jenny, was, is this really going to work?
Our medical bills exceeded $160,000. MediShare members shared all our bills.
And it was about more than just the money, too. This is a real community.
MediShare is a family, a group of people that stick with you through the hardest times of your life. I just don't know how I could have done it without MediShare.
It's so worth looking into. There's a reason this is growing so fast. If you want to find out more, here's a number for you. 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Hey, it's Brian Shapiro from the Vegas Take Care, and now it's time for Infinity's Fun Fact of the Day.
The first whole number with an A in it is 1,000. Every odd number in existence has an E.
Don't forget to visit themathinstitute.com for more information on how to make your child the most successful student they can be.
Maybe it's time to take a fresh look at everything we thought we knew about landing a great job. For instance, what if phenomenal careers start at the middle school science fair instead of at the job fair? If being the captain of the robotics team means just as much on a college application as being captain of the football team. And if knowing the quadratic formula is every bit as important as knowing the right people. Well, the fact is, the jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. More opportunities, better pay. And the road to these great jobs starts as early as middle school. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Because the job you'll get in the future may very well depend on what you do today. A public service message from America's Navy.
This is Kevin Malone from the Department of Motor Vehicles. Go on our website, dmvnv.com, and sign up for a MyDMV account. You can see all of your driver's license and vehicle registration records in one place and do up to 20 online transactions. dmvnv.com. You're always first in line.
Okay, men, time to be an all-star caregiver. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, be there emotionally and physically. Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find care guides at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group.